Cheers.
Cheers.
Yo, thanks for bringing this plantation, man.
Yeah. God, the bottle looks a little bit different than last time.
No, it's a different one.
Oh, is it?
Charles always comes through. It's very nice.
Yeah, so we haven't had plantation rum since the first episode we did with you, Charles.
Yeah.
You were our first guest.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy. Welcome back, man.
Thank you. The gears are much better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You haven't been here. You haven't been back to the place, even, right?
That's right.
No, I'm not.
We've had a dinner here probably in between. No, not at all.
No.
No. I don't think.
Wow, been a while.
Shit, man. So, shit's crazy, man. The U.S. It seems like America just like fucking got a wake up call. Shit just got real
Wait,
there.
You didn't go back. You didn't go back during Chinese New Year, did you?
No, I was supposed to go in Feb. I booked for February 15th, but I canceled.
But you were here the whole time, right?
Yeah.
You canceled because of the virus?
Yeah, because it was so bad here. So I didn't want to like risk getting on the plane and shit.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Like you didn't want to like bring it out there.
Oh no, it's not even that. I didn't want to contract it.
Because people flying from here.
Yeah. Because like you don't want to be in the airport or like with lots of people. Right?
But that's what's funny, right? Like 2 months ago, like I think the States is going through what we went through 2 months ago.
Yeah,
right?
Literally.
Like because you can see like what we went through here exactly play out right now, like live over there. And it's funny because like before everyone was trying to stay away from Chinese people and people who came from China. Now everyone in China is like trying to stay away from foreigners coming in. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because the situation's completely reversed now.
Bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Europe is fucking a mess right now.
Mess.
What are the cases? Let me see. What are the numbers?
I think
Scary.
US is up to 2,500. Right, I know that.
Well,
Yeah,
U.S.
I
I feel
got
like
it.
U.S. is gonna be really bad in another week.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's still just the beginning for them.
Yeah.
It's still just the beginning for them.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we get super lucky. I don't know. I know we're following the same graph as Italy, right? But then we did act a little bit earlier. Like
Well, I think it's going to be worse for Europe and America than
Yeah.
it was here because here we live in a system where they can just shut down a city, like just shut it down.
Well, not just the city, but the country.
The country,
Right,
exactly.
but in Europe, you're surrounded by all these different countries. With,
But you
know,
can't really do that over there.
Exactly.
So it's a different system. It's a different culture. So they're going to have, I think, a lot more hurdles in terms of getting over it. And I think it's probably going to spread even more. It'd be more widespread there. I'm just guessing. I don't know. But I think just the mentality is different, right? So right now, currently, this is for China. There is 10,828 current infections. And the total from the beginning is 81,000 total infections. There have been so far, and obviously, as with any statistic, the numbers are never truly accurate because there's not that many. There could have been a lot of people that died that were not tested, so the death may not have been attributed to the coronavirus. But that goes with all diseases in the past, present, and if anything, I think the numbers are more accurate today.
So
because of
another
the
thing
technology.
though. So some death I think are not contributed to corona, right? But then at the same time, the denominator, a lot of people with light symptoms don't even know they have the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Well,
Right?
especially in
dangerous.
America because no one's getting tested.
Yeah,
I mean, the
well,
number's so low.
even in China, I think a lot of people who like, sometimes you have like a slight fever or like a sore throat. You're not gonna go like to the hospital and be like, hey, I have the coronavirus, like quarantine me right now, right? So I think because like the kill rate is what we care about, right? The death rate, right? Like
Kill
so.
rate.
Oh yeah,
Call of Duty.
Yeah, the kill ratio.
rate. But so, because a couple of days ago, Trump said some stupid shit, right? But it's actually not truly stupid. It's just the way that he expressed it was stupid. He was like, oh, like coronavirus only kills at like 2%, but the real number is actually much lower, right? And people but I think the guy's not good at math, so like he didn't word it correctly, right? But what he was trying to say was there's actually a lot more people in the denominator group
So it gets diluted.
Yeah,
the ratio gets diluted
yeah,
because
right.
once you factor in all the people who have it who didn't get tested, all of a sudden the death ratio goes
down by a lot. So it is like not a very big killing disease, right? But at the same time, I think it's the R number, right? Like, which is like the rate of infection, how easy it's
it's extremely contagious. That's the problem.
So it is growing very fast. So I think Italy, like the death rate is higher, just because
it's like 5-6%, right?
Yeah, because they got
something like that.
They got over.
Oh, it is 5-6%.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I think it's almost 7%. But
It might
what
be even
happened?
higher,
Yeah, what happened was just people were like just too. People went to the hospital too fast. And that's why, like, so it's like by itself is not dangerous, but what happened was like too many people went to the hospital.
Well, that's
at the
what
same
they say
time.
is the dangerous part is
yeah.
people are gonna get it. You're not gonna be able to stop it. But the whole point is to slow down the rate of contagion so that not everyone gets sick at the same time. Because once everyone gets sick at the same time, you don't have the infrastructure and just structure and medical facilities to kind of take care of everybody, and that's when a lot of bad things start happening. So in China so far, reported 3,200 deaths, 3,204, and 67,026 people were formerly infected and have recovered. So that's 10,800 current cases.
Yeah, how many
67,000 people
how many new cases
have
do we
recovered, and 3,200 people died.
In China?
Like today, let's say, how many new
25.
cases? 25? Oh, okay. And how many was outside of Hubei?
I don't know about that.
Not a lot, though.
Okay, yeah. I think Shanghai's been clean for like...
Shanghai had one.
Today?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Someone from Milan
okay.
came back.
Yeah, it's most of the new cases in China are from I think Europeans coming back.
But what happened was, I think when they came back to Shanghai, they got quarantined immediately because they got caught at the airport.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, like, do you infect people on the plane?
Yeah. It's very contagious.
So like the whole plane gets quarantined too, right?
Well, think about it, right? Like those basketball players.
Yeah.
So,
oh god.
So the guy that was guarding Rudy Gobert, he got it from the Pistons.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he got it.
Which player is that?
Something Wood, Christian Wood.
Christian Wood got it?
Wood.
Oh, really? He tested positive?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Incidentally, not to scare you guys, and there's no need to fear this, I was with a guy from Milan last night.
Oh, what?
But he's been in China for like months. He hasn't left China for months.
Eric, I think you should leave right now.
Yeah.
Yo, why are you just telling us this now?
So when we introduced him,
First of all, you went to a social gathering,
I ate
right?
his
And then
day.
you hung out with somebody
Yeah.
from Milan.
Yeah.
We're prejudiced right now.
This podcast is not a social gathering.
You obviously don't give a fuck, Eric.
Yeah. So when we introduced him to everyone, we're like, oh yeah, this is Enrico. He's from Milan. And everyone's like, what? I'm leaving.
Well, it's sort of like the reverse racism that a lot of Asians are having in America and Europe now, right?
God.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. When I came to your complex last week, and just in general going to any complex here, and they'll question me. They'll be like, "Oh, 你不是从其他国家过来的吧?" I'm like, no. I've been 徐家汇 the whole time, dude.
Did you go back though?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay,
No.
okay.
I did.
Oh, shit.
I went back to America.
But you quarantined.
No.
But you were there before
what?
it got real.
Dude, seriously, my timing was ridiculous. So I left like around end of January. We were starting to pick up around here in China. And when I arrived there, that's when things started going downhill. And I mean, I was fine. I didn't feel sick or anything like that. And then coming back, it was right before America and Europe started like breaking out.
Oh, when did you get back?
China was coming down on the February 25th.
Charles is like calculating.
I'm like,
February
I'm like, fuck.
Don't worry.
February 25th.
Oh, okay.
My friend Chris called me yesterday, and he's in California. You know Chris, you guys met him at the wedding. So he's Korean American, and he called me yesterday, and we were talking, and he was telling me like he's going into the grocery stores now, right? And there's like 2-hour lines, and he's getting like a lot of like real nasty looks from people because he's Asian.
But
he told me this yesterday.
But he's from Cali.
He's from Cali.
That doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
If you're
No, I feel like Cali people are more like, open.
dude, even in New York, man. You know how much
Really?
shit's coming out of New York City?
Yeah.
No, but like, are people racist against Chinese people in New York? I feel like people are okay.
Not in general, but
I think people are just
Yeah.
racist in general, and this is just
They're
an
just
excuse.
scared. I think they're
Yeah,
just
exactly.
scared.
But when
Yeah.
that's when all those dark shit. That's when all that dark shit comes out. Is when people are panicking, people are scared, and they feel the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's when all the stuff they've been suppressing kind of leaks
Yeah.
out, right?
Yeah.
So you asked a really good question before, Eric. I felt was a really good question.
Shit. So my bad.
Oh shit, motherfucker!
That was my
Yeah.
That shit
bad.
on silent, man.
Yeah, that's worse than getting coronavirus, dude. Shouldn't do that. You should not.
But what was the question you said it before, Eric? It was a really good one. You were like, do you think this is just the media kind of like we were like sharing like articles and like YouTube videos about like some media coverage on like anti-Asian bigotry and like racism in the States.
Yeah, are
recently?
they sort of like cherry picking examples out, or is this part of maybe a broader sentiment?
of anti-Asian or anti-Chinese in particular.
Yeah, because like you see a couple of stories in the news, but you can always kind of pick out something. There's always something to kind of to point out.
I think it is a little bit of cherry picking, but whenever mainstream media starts talking about like racism towards Asians specifically, that's when I start listening and I start thinking it's like it's for real, because they never talk about that shit. They'll talk about a lot of racism towards or bigotry towards African Americans, Hispanics. They'll talk about like gender equality and bigotry towards homosexuals and things like that. But Asians are, it's not often you hear them talk about people kind of being racist towards Asians. Just because personally, I think there's a double standard there. But I think it could be in terms of like, if we look at what's been happening in the recent years, I think the context of it all and the timing of it all, of this coronavirus, plays right into all the fear mongering that a lot of media has been doing, against China in general. So it's been framed to no fault of the American public. It's not their fault, but these past few years, everything's been framed in a very political view of the U.S. versus China. And there's been a lot of fear mongering. There's been a lot of all that, as we know. So all of a sudden now this coronavirus out of China hits, and it's just like perfect timing to play into that sentiment. And of course, like all things, it gets exaggerated and blown out of proportion, and people start pointing, like people are afraid, like you said, people are scared and they want to start pointing fingers. And all of a sudden, China is that easy target because it's been built up in their minds as like the target for so many years. So I think in the broader context and timing of everything, it's more of like kind of this general sentiment against Chinese in particular. But like in the West, people don't really differentiate between whether you're Chinese, Japanese, Korean, or Thai. They don't really give a shit, right? So it becomes a more broader anti-Asian sentiment.
Yeah, but did you hear how like China is trying to twist it? So saying that like coronavirus actually like came out of like America, it just got blown up in China.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No, but there is no definitive proof that the origin is in China. The earliest we can trace it back, yes, is in China for sure, and it hit here first for sure, no doubt.
But it is.
But in
from,
terms
like,
of
a
the
bat
origin of
gene,
it,
though, right? Like, but
Yeah.
I feel
but
like
even for like H1N1, right? For many years, that came out in 2009 and out of California, I believe, in America. But then in 2017,
Mexico.
yeah, so that was like 8 years later, they found out that actually it was even earlier from Mexico. So these things need time. Like it's too early now to be like, this is exactly what happened. They're still researching everything about this virus. So not too much is really known and proven yet. So I think it's a little early to be like, okay, it definitely came out of here. We know the earliest it's been traced back so far is China, but that doesn't mean it started or originated here.
I mean, there's a lot of different conspiracy theories getting thrown around right now, and I think that's just a dangerous game to play. You know what I mean? I fell into that. I mean, when they were saying that there's the bio facility, the virus facility in Wuhan. I was like, well, that makes sense, that it came out in Wuhan.
But I think that's been put to bed though, right? That one. I mean, I just think the whole like pointing fingers thing isn't the issue. I mean, the virus doesn't really care, right? It's not about pointing fingers, but I think that's what we see playing out.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think now that this news is starting to spread in America, it's just I feel like the news outlets are using that as fuel. You know, just like you said, I feel like there is an agenda to kind of make it kind of America versus China. You know, and this is just going to add fuel to the fire.
No,
it's
for
hard
sure.
it's hard to differentiate. It's hard to distinguish, because when you read, let's say you read the New York Times or you read CNN, and it's just relentless against Trump. Like every single article for the last couple of years has been relentless, like absolutely unrelenting about like his vocabulary use, like his lying. I mean, it is really, really, really relentless, right? And then you see articles like during the coronavirus about, you know, China, and they can't do anything right. It could be that the government is, you know, really cracking down and stomping on people's, you know, personal liberties and stuff like that. So when they are effective in cracking down, then they get beaten up for it. And then,
but at the same time, if they don't, then
right,
they'll also
at the
be-
same time,
yeah.
if they don't stop it and it spreads to other countries, then they get beaten up, right? And then now you see that the coverage is shifting out, you know, off of China into kind of what's happening in the US and sort of other countries. So the question is, are we being too sensitive sometimes when you are that particular person? So when you are being sort of targeted in a way just for political gain, is that racism, right? Is that just sort of like different sides, you know, in a particular issue, kind of being polarized?
Well, I think for the regular people, like in the political arena, I get you. There's an agenda at play there, and that's the way it is, and the way of the world, and the way things have always been. But when we come out of that political arena, and we're talking about like the regular people, like the population, right? I don't think they're thinking like that, right? I think they've been influenced by the media over years, but when they see an Asian person and they want to, you know, whatever they want to do or say to that Asian person, or the looks they give, or the fingers they want to point, I think that is racism, because you are defining someone by their race.
What's the difference between that and seeing a Trump supporter in a supermarket and giving them kind of a dirty look? Like, what would be the difference there?
Yeah, I don't think there's
so it's
much
interesting,
difference.
right? Like, I mean, I kind of agree. I like with what you're saying is that if I'm getting dirty looks, you know, in the supermarket, let's say it really genuinely is a dirty look, right? Because sometimes you just might be reading into it. Like, who knows? Maybe that person didn't bring their glasses that day. They're squinting or something like that. But let's say that it is a genuinely kind of a dirty look. I might be inclined to give a dirty look to someone who held beliefs that I didn't believe in as well. You know, so it's interesting to see where you draw that line.
Yeah, I mean, and this is nothing new. This is absolutely nothing new. Like, this is the same thing that I think a lot of the Middle Eastern people and Muslims went through right after 9/11, right? In the States. Like, they got attacked. There was a lot of like Muslim kind of anti-Middle East sentiment in the States. A lot of people there, they were in the hot seat before that. So there's always been a racial hot seat in America, right? Like, historically, it's been black people, and they've been sitting in that seat for hundreds of years. And then, it was like Hispanics and Latinos, and then it was like Muslims, Middle Eastern, and now it's us, and now it's Asian people.
How long do you think it's going to last?
No, I really feel it's official. I think Asians are in that
say, like, we're
racial hot
racist
seat
too,
now.
man. Like,
I mean, Chinese people.
Yeah, we're racist
The Chinese
too.
people are racist.
So it's fair, like
The general.
I think it's
Yeah.
like, but I think the question we're asking is, well, the first question we're asking is this going to last for a while, and is it going to get worse, right? And then second is, if we compare this to growing up, like, it's a lot better in the US than when I grew up. Like, people made way more racial jokes when I was growing up than like recently.
No.
So there's really two
But
things.
I wonder if in schools, is it still that way or not?
I don't think so, because like, I mean, I have
think-
cousins, kids
yeah.
in schools, and I don't think it's just not as much like that anymore, because you have more Asians in positions of, politics, like running companies. It's kind of like Italians and Germans like 100 years ago, and they were not considered like true Americans. And over time, no one would really question. But I mean, Italians, think about that. They were the victims of a lot of
Irish
races.
and,
Irish races, anyone who hasn't been here for a few generations. So I think things are better. So that's one thing we can talk about. But the other thing is like, is this part of a bigger thing? Like in 1 year, 2 years, are we going to look back to this episode and be like, oh, we had it really good, and it's like a lot worse in 2 or 3 years? Or is this just something that's going to blow over like anything else, where things just get polarized because the media is trying to find something?
I mean, I think it's the beginning, in my opinion.
I
Why?
think it's like when
You're a very optimistic person, Howie.
I am.
a few things. I think one is the world is very PC now, so I think it's like US at least, right? Like so. I think the kids these days definitely had it better than us. I think, because I know like
Definitely better than you. I don't know about
yeah, definitely better than me because I grew up in like black school, right? So no, what?
What is that?
No, because all right.
But in my experience, the black people almost got along with Asians.
No.
where I
So
was
it's like
from.
this. So it's like white people are racist against black people, and black people are racist against Chinese people. Like the white people are rarely show their racism to our Chinese people directly. Like it's rare. Like only I'll say like the not well educated ones, right? Because they hide it pretty good. I mean, I'm not saying they're not racist. They're more classy than that, right? But in New York, you definitely tell like you get more racist. As a Chinese person growing up in New York, black people are more racist toward you. Like they openly express it.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Well, like in
So-
terms of like was it like aggressive and like hateful?
Yeah,
or is it
yeah,
more like,
sometimes.
hey, joshing around with you where you can go back and
it's
forth?
joking around, but as adults, it's aggressive, man. Like black people pick on Asian people all the time, but black people never pick on a white guy, right? Because they know they'll go to jail.
That's funny because a lot of the those like recent clips we've been seeing in the States of like Asians getting attacked there were black people.
Yeah.
attacking
Yeah, no,
Asians.
like because if a
in the
black
subway,
guy
in the subway stations.
attack a white guy, the chance of him going to jail is almost like 100%. But if a
But
black
Asians
guy,
are fair game, right?
yo, like as a kid, like I witnessed a lot, yo. Like black people beat up Chinese people, it's fine. Like Chinese people, we don't say anything, right?
Yeah,
Usually.
that's why I always thought there was a double standard with racism in
And-
terms
and
of
cops
Asians,
don't really like handle our
because the Asian
cases,
community has
right?
never
Like,
really been that vocal about it. you
Yeah,
know?
we're like whatever. We're just gonna let it go, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to start shit.
We don't
right?
like stage protests or marches. Like we don't do that shit.
Like we don't even go to the cops.
Now we
'cause,
start doing, but before it was like
because
never.
why would you go to the cops, right?
Yeah.
Like if I go to a cop, you get arrested. Your parents might come and your brothers might come and like kill my family too. So it's like
Wait, so hold on, I'm curious now. When you were talking about, you said growing up,
yeah.
did you have like bullies that were
like trying to kill your family. Like
Not
No,
kill your
no,
family,
but
he said kill his
I
family.
definitely grew up rough. Like I got chased down by a gun in high school.
tell us
right?
about that. Tell us about that.
Oh no, because I used to be very ghetto. Like I used to get into fights, like group gang fights.
Damn, were you part of the gang?
No, I wasn't part of a gang, but it was just like
please let the audience
Asian
know where
people.
where is this?
So no, because
Was
I grew up
Queens?
in Queens, but I grew up in Jamaica, Queens.
Oh shit.
So it was like right next to. Well, no, yeah, like I told you, one of my friends had to like run home every day, right? Like, because
No, you didn't tell us. You
Yeah, last time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I did
You did?
because we went to two different schools, right? Like, so he was a track. He was on track for college.
And this is an Asian friend.
Yeah, because he had to run home every day for high school. So he ran super fast.
Because people like they just wanted to beat him up.
Yeah, because you get beat up, man.
What, by black people?
But why?
What?
Why?
You just get picked on. Like,
So wait, hold on. So
Yeah.
was it only the Asians got beat up, or were there other races? What about South
No.
Asians? What about like South Asians?
well,
we're lumping all
we
Asians
didn't have
together.
that many South Asians. Well, in my school, I can tell you my junior high, it was like Russell Sage, right? And we had, I told you, like girls, we had like maybe 3 Asian girls, right? And guys, we had maybe like 5. It was that
but
many
do you
Asians.
think it was it a function of being Asian, or is it just a function of that there was only 5 of you, so they're easy to gang
Easy
up
to-
on
yeah,
you,
easy to-
right?
Yeah,
Because like,
we
what if you
were.
went to a school that was like all Asian and there was like 5 like Caucasian kids?
No,
And
no,
they'd probably be
no,
gonna
no,
happen.
No,
Yeah.
it's not, because my
it's a numbers
friend,
game. It's a
my,
numbers
a
game.
my
numbers
friend
game, yeah.
was in Long Island, right? So he grew up like pretty rich, right? Like we were good friends because his dad and my dad are friends. But so he went to like a Long Island, all like very preppy school, and like white kids are like pussies, yeah. All right, like compared to like no, because my school was like all black and Puerto Ricans, almost no whites,
Yeah.
and just.
But maybe it was
five
just
Asian
a rough-
kids.
and it's just you.
Yeah,
in the
five
middle of all
Chinese
that.
But maybe it was just a rough school in general, right? Like, I mean,
And
so
but my
again,
school was already not that rough. It was actually considered okay.
yeah.
Like the one my friend
What
went to
percentage-
was very rough.
Right. What percentage of your school, of the whole student population, graduated and then went to college?
I don't know. It was junior
like-
high.
Yeah, how would
So
you
I
know
don't know.
that?
I would not know.
How would
I don't
he
know,
have that
I don't know what we
statistic?
So
did.
junior high was rough, but high school was better.
High school because I tested out. I went to Bronx Science. I went to the second best.
Okay.
Right. Like
There you go.
Yeah, but that's because I tested out.
Yeah.
But if
There
I
you
didn't
go.
test out, like
You better fucking test
then-
out.
then-
Your
then,
parents
like-
put you in that school on purpose.
You might be dead right now. if
Yeah.
you-
No, but it does. Like we had our school. We had shootings. Right. We had drive-bys.
In middle school?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like if you search it up, Russell Sage, like Russians used to get in shit with like the blacks.
Yeah, middle school. We're talking middle school right now.
Yeah. Yo, there was like a machine gun shooting down my school.
Middle school.
Yeah. Russell Sage, man, very like I would not say I was that rough.
Damn,
I was like
son, I
lucky,
didn't know
yo.
that.
I
Damn.
didn't go to like the Jamaican school. I think those are even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you just went to a rough school.
Like, cause I was poor, right? So like, I grew up in a like poor neighborhood,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
But there's rough schools all over, right? Like all over the country, there were a lot of rough schools. So like a lot of people were going through that, right?
yeah, no,
I mean,
I'm
like
just saying.
that-
So
the Asian,
how
the
do we
Asian
even
being
get there?
bullied. That
You're
story's
saying
been
like,
told.
yeah. So we're saying how white people are not directly racist to us, but black people are more. They show it more. I think they show it because they don't go upwards, right? They don't like. You don't, like I said, you don't beat up a white dude, right? You go beat up.
Well,
the
because
Asian
they've been the
dude.
victims of racism for so long themselves, they feel like they have like a maybe get out of jail free card in terms
It's hard
of.
to. I think you're general. Honestly, I think you're
Of
generalizing.
course, we're always
This is-
generalizing.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
always
this is-
generalizing.
I can
We're
only
just having
go
a
from my
conversation.
experience. I can only
I
go
know.
from
This
my
is
experience.
generalizing.
Yeah.
You're, like if you went to like a super duper rough school where all of the Caucasians there were doing drive-bys and there were 5 Asians in there that were not sort of like gangster, then yeah, I mean the same thing would happen. So I think we're generalizing a little bit.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna share stories, I mean, I'll share my story because it's because my school it was like there was a lot of Asians, but mostly there were Filipinos. Like no like Chinese or Japanese or Korean, maybe like 4 of us, but there's a bunch of Filipinos, and they're all like trying to pass off as like Hispanic, and then you have like a decent amount of black people. And majority white. And I would say that like I mean personally I had bullies in middle school, and they were called the hit squad, and they were like group of blacks and Hispanics.
So it was like a known group of bullies called the Hit Squad. Like they had a name.
Yeah, well back then it was like what early 90s like.
Did they call themselves that, or did other people?
No.
sign
They're kids. We're all
Okay.
kids.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, after
That-
his
that
middle
was their
school
gang
story,
name,
like
yeah.
anything
Their
goes
gang
now.
name, it was all kids, and which everyone's just a kid,
So
It's
there's no
like
drive-bys.
no, but there's a lot of fighting.
But
and,
there
like,
was the Hit Squad. Okay.
And I remember being like, followed home and like getting jumped and having my shit stolen.
Why do you think
on
that
me.
is? Like, why were they targeting you? Just because they felt like you were weaker, or what?
I mean, it would always be like targeting me and then Chinese jokes, at the same time. And that was before I was like a lot more chill. You know what I mean? And I got a little more aggressive.
How old were you during this time?
I was
About
like 11,
okay.
12. Yeah. And so like, yeah, I would be like, get picked on and stuff like that, bullies, And I'll never forget it. Like even in classrooms, like before the teacher walks in, some guy would just come up to me, and I'll never forget his name. His name is Che Mitchell, and he'll just grab me and be like, "Yo, Howie, give me $5." I'm like, "I'm not giving you shit." Bam! Like punch in the face, And I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like get the fuck out of here, shit like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you were really bullied, huh?
No, just in the middle school. In high school, I was fine, but it was just middle school. I don't know why. It was weird.
What percentage of people do you think have gotten bullied? Is this like kind of a rare instance, or
I
do you
would
think
say
most
like
people have been
majority, more than 50%, man, because half the people
bullying's a
are
common thing.
bullying, half the people are getting bullied.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
the bullies are probably, if anything, it's 20/80, the 20/80 rule, yo.
Yeah.
20% of the people are bullying. 80% of people are getting bullied.
Yeah. But I didn't get bullied by anybody else. You know, it was just that group. You know.
Well, would they always say something like make a Chinese joke?
Oh yeah, all the time.
All
Yeah,
the time?
definitely. And also, like, my name was Si Kong, right? Like, Si Cong, right? But white people pronounce it Si Kong. Like, even teacher pronounced Si Kong. But like, and back then it would be like King Kong, right? Any kind of Kong. There was like a lot of fucking Kongs.
Yeah, I was Howard the Duck.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's not very Asian, but it was Howie Lamb.
So yeah, I mean, all right. Anyway, I think we went off topic, but we went from like, so is the world a better place in terms of racism? I think it is.
Oh, for sure.
It is. It's better than we were kids. I think. I mean, I'm not kids anymore, so I don't know. Like maybe Russell Sage is still rough. I don't know, but I think it's better.
You should
but at the
Google it.
same time, actually, it's funny. I got mugged there a few years ago.
What? A few years ago.
Yeah.
So you went back and you got mugged?
Yeah. Like, but
Tell us the story,
it was
just real quick,
kids.
real quick,
It was
real
just
quick.
kids.
Real quick. What's
But-
the story?
Kids mugged you. A gang of kids mugged you.
Black. I would not say they're kids. They're like college kids, probably.
Okay, real quick. What's the story? Quick.
All right. So it was just like I went to play some pickup basketball, right?
And this was how many years ago about?
It was many 5-6 years ago now.
Okay, so you're a
5-6
full-grown
years ago.
adult.
Yeah, full grown adult. Like, you know, so like for old school's sake, like a bunch of my junior high friends decided to play a game at my junior high, right? Like, so I went there, and it's actually so I went there. Like, I was at the handball courts. I was getting to the basketball court because it's like so it's like the handball court next to the basketball court, but it's a big courtyard, right? Like, because it's a courtyard with basketball hoops at the end. So I'm like at the handball courts. I'll say like 50 to like 70 to 80 meters away, like from where I want to go. Then like one kid just standing in front of me, right? Like then a couple of guys like surrounded me, right? Then it's
What'd they say?
no, it's like give me your money, right?
Oh, shit.
But then like I don't know if they had a real gun or not. 'Cause it was like the whole like hand or
Like
gun,
under the shirt kind of
under
thing?
the shirt thing, right? But like I didn't want to like
Why chance it?
yeah, why chance it, right? So I just like, but the good thing is like because I grew up there, I know like they're cool, right? So we can negotiate, right? Usually I'm like, don't take all my money, right? Like take so it's just like no, because as kids I would negotiate too, right? I'm like, yo, I need some money too, man, like, right? Because it was good. I was like dressed like playing basketball, right? So I look young enough. I think like I can still play off of maybe like a college kid. I don't know, right? Like so I'm like, oh, yeah, I need some money too, man. Like leave me some. And like I think I like gave them like $100, and they just
If you
left.
walk into any rough part of town of any country and you clearly look like you're not from that part of town, you're gonna get mugged. So I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
gonna,
that's like non-racial. I think that's any
yeah,
race.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
You're just sharing a story. That's not
So
like a racial
so
thing.
that one I don't know, but I think so. No, because I'm just saying it might be rough. I don't know, but anyway. So off the point is, I think China racism I think is gonna grow a little bit more from this point on.
What do you mean by China racism?
Just because
Anti-China sentiment.
Yeah, anti-China sentiment. Just because you
course.
guys remember like Japan, when Japan was like super strong, right? And like Americans hated Japanese people, man, just because like it was. I think it was back in the 80s, right? When Japan was almost like a superpower, right? Like Toyota was like.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like World War II.
Oh
but
no,
okay.
I'm not talking
I was
about
like
World War
80s.
II.
Like,
No,
okay.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the industrial age.
The
where,
economical,
like,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, economic
economical.
rise.
Where like Toyota factories were like forcing U.S. factories to close down.
Yep.
Because a lot of U.S. car makers.
And then they thought like
yeah.
Japanese were taking away their jobs. You know.
Yeah, and there was like a very heavy anti-Japanese sentiment in the 80s, right? And I think it's kind of like what's happening now, right? It's Chinese people are getting stronger, and
Well, China's threatening America.
yeah, and I think people who are holding like, especially the industrial jobs, or the more like low-level jobs, the building jobs, right? They're getting threatened. They feel threatened by
Oh,
us,
for
right?
sure. For
Right,
sure.
like they think we're stealing their jobs.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why Trump has so much support behind him is because of that kind of sentiment, right? Like that's part of it. That's part of a much larger thing. Obviously, that's one small thing in it, but I think that's one of the reason. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I've harped on this, for a long time that we are in the midst of a legitimate Cold War between the United States and China. So everything, like, once something gets framed politically in that context, and there is that kind of dynamic between, like, let's say two superpowers, that's going to have a trickle down effect to a lot of people in their mentality, right? Because they don't know any better, so they're going to listen to the media and listen to all the fear mongering and China's taking away our jobs, China's here to take over, anti-communism, all this, all this stuff. And so naturally there's going to be a sentiment. And on the other side, China is coming up, and the young people in China are becoming much, much more nationalistic in terms of national pride. Yeah. So the reverse effect they're going to have on them in terms of, like, they're going to be very proud to be Chinese, very proud of China, and any kind of attack on China, they're going to be very defensive about, right? So that's clearly going to lead to some sort of conflict. Now, where that conflict goes, who knows? But there is that tension, and there is going to be that conflict. We just don't know the degree and magnitude of that conflict.
Yeah.
But we see signs of it with the trade wars and everything. And
this kind of goes back to maybe like the kids these days, right? I think maybe they still get bullied, but I think maybe Chinese kids stand up for themselves more than us, more than our generation.
I would think so.
Just because back then we were like kind of weak, right? Like there were less of us, and then like our country wasn't like...
It's like survival instinct, maybe.
Yeah, but we also didn't... I feel like back then, I can only speak for myself and from what I hear of what the stories you guys have shared. There was less confidence. Like, as an Asian kid growing up, there was a lot less self-confidence back then as opposed to now. Obviously, this is general. I don't know. Yeah. But I would feel like an Asian kid growing up in the United States now walks around with a lot more confidence and swagger in him or herself than we did back then.
Because I think back then, like, most Chinese people were still poor. I think, my family was poor, right? I know a lot Chinese in New York were still poorer than the kids now, right? Like, a lot of Chinese kids are super rich now. Like, then with that, it builds confidence too, right? Like, versus like if you're from like a poor family, right? Like, then it's like, you're not super confident.
But it's also like we didn't grow up with like very PC culture.
But it's also media though, right? Like who did we have growing up? Bruce Lee, that's it.
Yeah, there was no Asian like leads in any films in Hollywood whatsoever.
We had Bruce Lee, that's it.
Now there's only starting to be some, and they're not even like really leads.
Do you know how many times I've heard literally in the gym locker room, some kid will come up to me and be like, "Come on, Howie, show me your kung fu."
Like wait, when was this? Like back in high school?
In middle school, high school, sure, yeah, like literally that. I mean, it didn't help that I started taking martial arts and stuff like
that. so maybe they just genuinely wanted to know. You know what I mean? You were like, you fucking
like, okay, let me show it to you.
I'm a living stereotype.
You're walking around with like nunchucks in your pocket.
It's like, okay, let me do it for you. Let me do it for you.
You have like ninja stars in your your backpack.
It's hilarious. Yeah, but I mean, I did get really into this whole, like, when I was in my early to mid 20s back in New York, I got really into doing research about the difference between being an Asian male and Asian female growing up in America as let's say an American
like
born.
Now or
back in the 2000s, like the mid 2000s, okay, I was really into this, and like basically the general consensus at that time. Now it's been widely talked about, but Asian women were basically, they were just like sexual use.
No, we don't know like how now it's getting like dirty, or now that you're not saying it. I feel
I'm trying to think of like the best way to say it, but just like they're like the stereotypes of like the geisha girls, they
like me love you long time.
Yeah, and like they have like they just listen to, and they're just there for sex.
Like they're very
more
submissive.
Very submissive and stuff like that. But like, and then the Asian male, they're nerds. They have no, they don't have confidence.
We're nerdier.
They got small dicks.
You know, they small dicks. They hang out with their own kind. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, you know, I remember watching a long time ago this video that really affected me. It was like, I forgot who did it, but just walking around like interviewing a whole bunch of people and basically asking them like, do you find, you know, Asian women attractive? Do you find Asian men attractive? And asking the opposite sex. And in general, every single person was like, about the Asian female was like, oh yeah, of course, blah, 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 you know, all that stuff. But the Asian male, it's always like, I never really thought about it. Or like, no, I don't.
But I think even now, Asian male is still, I mean, we're getting better. But I would not say we're in high demand.
No.
Especially not now with this fucking coronavirus.
But I feel like the Koreans are doing a good job with their whole like music and entertainment industry.
They are doing a great job. They're doing a really good job.
Like out of all the Asian groups, the Koreans are progressing.
But more so in Asia. But
Asian
like
agenda.
even in the West, I feel like they look at the Korean pop stars. No, they're popular.
Yeah.
But like they're still kind of like girlish, and you know, like they're you know. That's I think, at least in terms of a lot of guys I've spoken to who live in America, and when I've talked to them about the subject of like the Korean pop stars and even Chinese idols and like Chinese pop stars, they're like, yeah, feminine, you know, like it's super popular, but like they can't really wrap their minds around it. They're so like skinny, and they're like purposely trying to like dress and like put makeup on like girls, and like, you know, that's the view, right? That's the old school view.
Yeah, and there's like a very small percentage of people that are into that in the West. Yeah, I see that.
I don't know, man. Like, where do you see all this going?
Well, I mean, let's compare for a second with other ethnicities in terms of media exposure and how they're looked at. Like, you have, you know, African American leads, black leads that have become sex symbols, right? And it's, I mean, sure, you have a lot of racism towards them, but you also have a lot of, you know, people that are very attracted to the black male.
Yeah.
You know, and you also have the sexy Latino. You know.
You don't have the sexy Asian yet,
you don't
though.
have the sexy Asian.
How long do you think? How many more years do you think?
I feel like it's
Like
close.
It's coming, right? It's coming.
Are we talking about a sexy Asian guy or sexy
Guy. Because the sexy Asian female, that's already a thing, right? That's already a thing.
If anything, that's a big thing.
Yeah, they've been sexualized throughout history. But we're talking about the Asian male. There's never really been in Hollywood a romantic lead for an Asian male.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Like, you can name like nonstop like of different races, but what about the Asian? I really don't know.
Like, even when Jackie Chan was the lead in a lot of Hollywood films, like they purposely never like had him like kiss like the female lead, or like,
well, Jackie Chan's not sexy. Let's be
but
honest.
he's not a sexy guy either.
Yeah, I would not even want to watch Jackie Chan.
Or even
kiss.
Jet Li, you know, you don't see like, any
Jet Li was
sexual
a
thing.
kiss.
But
kiss.
Jet Li was too early. And like Jet Li was
Or
super,
Jackie Chan was even earlier.
No, but Jackie Chan lasted longer, I think. Like, you know, the last of Jackie Chan's movie was much.
But
like,
all of them are kung
later.
fu. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know, but now you got
Oh
now you got some good
now we
actors
had
coming out.
that one though. We do have one.
The Korean guy?
No, the super rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians.
The crazy
That guy?
rich Asians, right?
No one's talking about that guy.
Yeah, the Aquafina is big.
Yeah.
But again, a
but
female.
no, that guy, he just went to another movie, I think, with it's a like
Terry
a,
Golding.
Oh yeah.
I think by far the biggest Hollywood Asian star in terms of like American Hollywood Asian star would probably be John Cho, right?
Yeah.
He's probably in terms of male.
Well, I don't know. Like, he was supposed to lead something, but then I never saw that. Like, was he supposed to be a Marvel hero or something? I forget. What happened to John Cho?
I
Like,
don't know. But Aquafina is huge.
Aquafina's
now.
huge. Like, I just listened to My Vag yesterday. You guys heard the song My Vag?
No. What
Like,
is that?
My Vag is better than your vag.
What is that?
It's Aquafina's song.
Oh,
It's her song.
Yeah. My Vag. It's
So wait,
called
was
My
she a
Vag.
musician before she was
No,
an actor?
I think she's just a comedian.
she's
Like,
a comedian and a rapper.
Yeah. So the whole song's about like how my vag is like super awesome and your vag sucks.
But you know what's funny? It's like whenever I talk to local Chinese about Aquafina, they all think that they're like, what the fuck? Why is she famous? She's so ugly.
Yeah.
But then like
I
you talk to
heard that too.
Americans, they're like, oh, she's so beautiful.
Okay, I definitely don't think she's beautiful. Like I'll say I'll give it to her that I think she's a hard worker. She deserves what she has.
She has a unique thing about her, and obviously
yeah.
her voice sounds like very unique.
Yeah.
She's got a good voice,
Yeah.
But I would not say she's beautiful.
like physically.
And
Yeah,
she talks really
physically.
ghetto too, right? Like that's the part of the charm about her, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But I just think it's funny because
Is it unexpected? Is any of this unexpected? Would you expect a minority of population in China to all of a sudden have leading roles in Chinese films? It's our circumstance, right? It's the fact that our parents were, brave enough to go to the US and join that small amount of people in the US. Like, is it unexpected that, the majority of people in the US fit a certain demographic profile, and therefore the films and the TV are, cast these people? Also, just based on the number of students and actors and actresses, is it surprising to us?
Eric, I'm so glad you said this. Honestly, I'm so glad that you said this because I felt like that was like, this is the natural evolution of this conversation, because you have all these politically right, progressive people talking and bringing this agenda up of even like Asian rights and women's rights and all that stuff. But then I've also come from the other side, even as an Asian, and being like, well, yeah, I mean, if you go by percentage, I mean, Asians make up what, like
5.6% of the US
of the
population.
US population. Why should we be equal to everything?
Well, I don't it's not equal. It's like, why should the representation be disproportionate? And we are disproportionately represented in universities. We are disproportionately represented in, different types of professions. Unfortunately, in Hollywood, we're not as well represented. That may also be because of the number of people in our generation that were willing to pursue that line, and also the amount of support that our parents gave us as well
To go into the arts.
I mean, I think we're trying to draw the line between, true racism, which clearly exists, and when you feel it, it's a very, very, very disabling feeling, versus a victim mentality, right? We're always trying to draw that line, and it's really, I think victim mentality is not something unique to Asian people. Like, you could be a wealthy white person and have victim mentality, right? And so it's just like, where do you draw that line? How do you get beyond the victim mentality? But what are some examples where we do need the support of a broader group to help us advocate for our rights?
Well, first of all, I feel like I'm actually okay with being racist against. I mean, it's like,
Why is that?
Everybody's racist, man. I'm racist towards people too, right? Like, so it's okay. Like, it's okay. You're racist towards me, I think.
So you're just like that's just the way the world is.
I think,
so
I think
that's
deep down we're all racist, and it's cool. Like, as long as you're not like.
What is racism? I mean, deep down, what is racism?
How would you define
Yeah.
racism?
I think if you look at a certain race and you have like prejudices against them, that's racism, right? Or like just
in that definition, I think everyone is
until
racist,
I
right?
know you. Until
Where
I
it
know
becomes
who
a
you
problem
are.
is when people start acting on it in a hateful way, right?
Yeah.
In a violent way, or a hateful way,
Yeah.
or some way that suppresses or hurts that population of people. But I think in the purest definition, or the most simplistic definition of, like, we all have some degree of prejudice when we look at, or stereotype when we look at a certain group of people. I think every single person living on this earth has that to some degree or another, right?
Yeah, you just make generalizations.
So like what Eric was saying is, like, where do you draw that line? Because it's like kind of pointless to talk about that, because everyone has like their built-in stereotypes and built-in like prejudices against like certain things. Like, we all kind of judge a book by its cover. We're just
Do you
that's the
allow
way we've
yourself to
evolved.
act upon it? And do you
But
allow
how far
yourself-
does it go? How far do you let it go? That's the thing. Like,
well, you shouldn't let yourself.
like where
act on
is that line? Because everyone has it to some degree or another, right?
Well, that's truth. I mean, I feel like it's human nature.
Yeah, precisely.
We talked on one of our earlier shows about how people form groups, and we talked about a guy named Nicholas Christakis. I think, Howie, you had mentioned his book Blueprint a while back, and very, very profound, right? I mean, he says that I'm just looking at some of my notes here, that the way humans have evolved has given us the capacity to join groups and to do that in special ways. For instance, we will surrender our own individuality so that we can feel aligned with a collective or a group of people. And then we do things that would seem against our own personal interest or that would shock us, right? So people in crowds, you see this mania sometimes, right? You saw it in Charlottesville. You see it with coronavirus. People in crowds often act in really, really thoughtless ways, like just, shouting profanities, like, epithets, like destroying stuff. And they call this process in psychology, they call it de-individuation. People lose their own self-awareness and sense of individuality, and they identify more strongly with the groups, right?
Is that just a fancy way of saying mob mentality?
Yeah. Mob mentality, but also the element of forgetting your own individual sort of agency and
like
choices.
thinking for yourself.
Yeah, thinking for yourself, exactly. And, he also says that in his own research group, one of the questions that he asked that may have sort of a demoralizing answer is that, will the affinity that people show for their own group, whether it's like nationality, ethnicity, religion, social connections, does it always have to be coupled with the rejection of other groups? In other words, he asked, can you love your own group without hating everyone else? It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. So I think for us, it's about acknowledging these things and being embracing and not being not kind of demonstrating those behaviors, right? Being a little, because like when you're wary, when you look at every glance as if it could be against you, you naturally perpetuate this sort of divide between different groups. And I think, some people just kind of rise above it all. And certainly there are going to be instances where you're going to be a victim, but I don't think it should make you have the victim mentality like 24/7.
Which I think, to add on to that, if you are a subject of that kind of victimization, for example, it doesn't mean that everyone is like that, right? So you can't allow yourself to generalize a whole population or a whole race.
Of course, but that's the pit we all fall in, right? Like is that like hate breeds hate. So like once you feel, whether it's true or not, whether it's real or not, once you feel like you've been hated upon, it's emotionally very tempting to start hating that, start hating the group that hates you, and then so it all spirals out of control, and everyone has this sense of generalizing. Everyone does. Like as individuals, I don't want to say this, like as individuals, we're all really smart people.
We've all been there.
Like you can sit down with a person one-on-one and have a really intelligent talk. But like you say, once you look at it from a macro perspective, these thoughts and these all spin out of control. They all spin out of control.
Yeah, we've all been there. We just sometimes don't admit it.
I'm just glad that like I'm not building railroads right now. Honestly, I'm just really happy. Things have improved.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother story that doesn't get spoken enough in history as well, and all that shit. But like, don't you find it interesting that like
we're making other people build railroads now, though? The one belt, one road initiative.
It's true.
Yeah, but we're still building our own railroads. So.
No, we're paying other people.
No, we're paying in that. But once we get to like countries, in our own country, we're still building our own railroads. We're not importing people to build railroads for us.
That's true. We're not importing people.
There's a big difference.
We're just going to their countries and make them build.
But hold on, let's use a metaphor. But we are making other people, and when I say we, I mean China. We're making every other country pay for our products. There you go.
That comes with the strength.
Oh yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, don't you think it's interesting, like in the States, like people are only starting to take this seriously, like let's say in America, like people only started to take this whole thing seriously, like once like celebrities started getting it.
Oh yeah, that was a joke I made as well. It's like now that Tom Hanks got it, it's becoming a real deal.
Like all of a sudden it becomes a real deal. Meanwhile, like for months, the World Health Organization has been screaming from the rooftop. You know what I mean? And then once Tom Hanks get it, or a couple of NBA players get it, all of a sudden it becomes very real over there, and then they start panicking.
But I think also it was the stock market tanking.
Yeah.
Right, like because I think what Trump cares about is re-election. Right, for him, the biggest goal is re-election. Presidents get re-elected when the economy goes up, and do not get re-elected if the economy does not go up. Right. So I think in the big so before the stock was tanking, Trump had almost like 100% re-election chance. Like, I mean, like the Democrats had like their people, but it was not like a real threat.
So you don't think Biden has a chance against Trump?
Before the coronavirus, but after the coronavirus, now like
Biden.
yes, now like even like I think.
Well, now medical for all is going to be Medicare for all is going to be a huge, like already was a huge topic, but now it's just going to be like really at like the spotlight's going to be on it.
Like I think the coronavirus made Trump look pretty terrible, right? Like how he handled it.
The coronavirus did not make Trump look terrible. Trump made himself look terrible.
Yeah, but I know, but you know, like because the other shit, I think he can get away with. A lot of shit he could get away with, but how he handled Corona was like definitely.
Yes, the reason is coronavirus knows like it's the opposite of racist. Like if you think about coronavirus, we've been talking about racism the whole show. The only thing that truly is not racist is coronavirus.
Exactly.
Like it's not racist. It's like I'm gonna fucking infect all you motherfuckers. I don't care.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, but anyway, it's gonna. So I think with the stock tanking, then you guys have to take it seriously. Like 2,000 point drop is like crazy, man. Like
that definitely had a
10%.
big part to do with it. But I like from the sense that I got, I feel like a lot of normal people like who weren't necessarily like fixated on the stock market or things like that, like or politically active, like it really struck as like real for them is when the celebrities started getting it.
Well, because the general population doesn't look at the stock market. The general population.
Yeah, but then once they hear Tom Hanks gets it, then once they hear Rudy Gobert gets it, then they're like, oh shit. But it takes like what does that say about society that it takes that?
It hits home for them
because they're the elite. So if the elite can get it, then anyone can get it.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just like, for example, I mean, I would say not the majority. The majority of Americans probably don't follow the stock market in terms of every day looking at the paper, seeing what what's going on every day. The majority, I would say, right? But I mean,
that's true. But I think like with 10%, people would know, like, because then all news outlets will be posting about it.
I think the reason that the celebrity thing kind of hit home for people is because the overall infection rates are fairly low. So the chances that you actually know someone that's infected is fairly low. So it's not going to hit home. Celebrities, it's broadcast in the news.
It's like someone you know.
Right? So it is like someone you know. And so when someone has name recognition, and that's like the whole effect of branding and marketing. So once Tom Hanks gets it, and you know how wealthy and protected he is, then people wonder, could I get it? If he's so wealthy and he has access and resources to everything.
But he actually did not get it in U.S. He got it in Australia.
Yeah.
But no, people aren't going to split those hairs.
Yeah. But that's precisely right. It's like people feel like, oh, if they can get it, then anyone can get it. If
people are starting to freak out.
But it was so interesting to see that clear correlated uptick of like panic.
Yeah.
Right when the celebrities got it, because like thousands of people, and then obviously for months you see what happened globally, and especially here in China, you had an entire country shut down. Think about that. Like think about an entire country shutting down, especially a country with a population of China.
No, but then again,
and the consequences.
I think
and then you're like, okay, whatever.
We're in China.
Exactly.
Even my Chinese friends in the States did not care that we were shutting down, man. To them, it was just a joke.
No, but at that time, if you listened to the World Health Organization, if you actually looked at what was happening globally, especially in China, you could see like, okay, this is going to be a bigger issue. This is going to be a global thing. Right. And everyone's like, okay, whatever. And even people, like, there are still people like Chris, again, going back to my friend, like his fiance, like her family, he was telling me like her family, they're from the Midwest. And he was talking to him just the other day, like after the celebrities, I got it. They still think this thing is a hoax. They still think like this thing is just like a thing to like make Trump look bad. That's what they think.
Oh yeah, I've heard that on Facebook.
They think like, oh, the media is just spinning this out of whack, and it's not like a real like there is a coronavirus, but it's not nearly as like serious as they're saying it is, just to make Trump look bad. There is still a population of people that still are thinking that till this day.
Yeah, this is a political thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
which is alarming.
I mean, I don't know, because coronavirus technically only kills elderly, right? Or
No.
the sick, the elderly, and the young.
No.
Well, like I think the medium
Not
ages
the
is
young.
more elderly.
the
not the
majority.
young.
The majority.
The
is
young are
elderly.
actually more protected from this for
If
some
you're
reason.
under
They
the
don't know why
age of
yet.
50, it's a 0.2 to 0.4%, and then it starts multiplying after, and
Also, if
under
you
under the age of 12, it's virtually zero.
But also, if you have other health
underlying
problems.
respiratory
Yeah.
conditions.
Yeah, for sure. So like obesity or like
Yeah.
other respiratory
so
systems.
that's crazy. You only kill the old and not
It's
the
the
young.
opposite of the Spanish flu, where the Spanish flu killed people
Like
young
in their
people.
50s, like
Yeah.
under 50, right? What's most like frustrating for me right now when I see what's happening in the States is the whole sentiment towards masks. Like they're not wearing masks because they feel like they're against wearing masks because they feel like it's spreading panic. And there's been a lot of things like, okay, well, it doesn't really help unless you get the ones that are like really airtight and like really seal around your face. So the other day, I heard from a friend back in the States, like they wanted to wear a mask into work. And they were like, what are you doing? Don't wear a mask. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't wear a mask. You're gonna freak everyone out. You're gonna freak everyone out. If you want to wear a mask, go home. That's exactly what they said.
What?
So it's like this idea of like look, if you think not wearing a mask for the general public because there is a shortage of masks, then I get that. I understand where you're coming from, and to a large degree, I even agree with that. But if you think that not wearing a mask is the right thing to do in terms of not spreading fear or panic, I think that's completely wrong. Like the problem with the coronavirus is people are walking around not knowing they even have it, and they're contagious. So the normal masks that are not airtight, not the N95s, but the normal ones, the surgeon's masks that most people are wearing are not airtight. So those only really are helpful for people who are already sick. So if they sneeze or cough or whatever, there's a physical barrier right in front of their mouth that it goes onto. It does not help for if you're not sick and you don't want to get it from other people because it's not airtight. It can still get in.
Well, but
so the argument for a lot of people in the West is like, okay, so if it's not preventing me from getting the coronavirus, none of us should be wearing it, and only people who are wearing it are sick. That mentality is terrible. Everyone should be wearing masks. Because the problem is you're walking around not knowing if you're sick. You don't know who's sick. So everyone should be wearing masks if there are enough masks to go around. Obviously,
yeah, at least you can stop the spread, I guess, right?
But there's this huge sentiment in the States about anti-mask. Like people are freaking out if you wear a mask. They look at you weird. They're afraid of you if you wear a mask, which is the complete opposite mindset you should be having. Everyone should be wearing masks, whether you have it or not, just in case. That's the frustrating with me. It's frustrating thing with me.
It's just eventually everyone will figure it out. It's just that they might have to get it before they figure it out. As in get coronavirus before
so
they...
another thing I was hearing is the reason why a lot of people are not wearing masks is because China happened first, right? Coronavirus. So
they took up all the masks.
They took up all the fucking...
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's true, man. Like,
yeah.
So like all the daigous, right? Like the people who sell shit to China, right? They bought up all the masks. Like all the Chinese people in the US, they bought it. They sent it back to China. Like there's actually a shortage. No, it's true. There's a shortage of masks. And like if you go on Amazon, masks right now are like selling for much higher.
Oh yeah.
Than like their
thousands of
price.
RMB.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you know that when I first got to America before it got like really huge in like early, like the first week of February, end of January, I actually went directly to like CVS, Walgreens, Duane Reade.
No masks.
At that time already. No masks.
Yeah.
And then I remember talking to one of the staff from CVS. I was like, you know, when are you going to get into the shipment? Like, what's up? What's the situation with masks? Because, like, no one's wearing them, like, walking around. Like, I want to buy some masks. He's like, no, like, the minute it hits a shelf, they're gone. And I'm like,
who's buying them?
Chinese Daigou, man.
And he said it. He's like, Asian people. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yo, Chinese Daigou is buying up everything, man. So, sorry, but you have to think, like, so Chinese people were...
And this is in Florida, by the way. Not even in...
Yeah. But do you think if Chinese people weren't buying them, do you think, you know, Western people would even be buying them?
I think if there were plenty of masks, then first of all, the government, because right now the government is actually coming out with statements telling people not to buy too many masks, because first of all, you have to understand, like, as a government, American government is not as strong as the Chinese government. Chinese government right now, all masks produced in China is considered government property, and they get to use it however they want, right? They can send it to the hospital first, then like the extras they can give it to like the citizens. But U.S. The government does not have that power, so there's a lack of masks for medical practitioners right now.
Yeah, the people on the front lines.
Yeah. Even hospitals don't have enough masks right now, right? So of course they have to be like, all right, guys, like, don't buy up all the fucking masks. So like at least the doctors can get some masks, right?
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. I agree with that. But there seems to be a sentiment that isn't tied to that.
No,
that
but
is
I
just
think
like,
if
don't wear masks because they're afraid of masks.
There was a lot of masks, then the government would not be making statements like that, at least, right? Because then, like, at least I think citizens would be wearing more masks. But right now, like, even the government is not promoting it. The government, like, guys, is like, don't fucking buy masks. like don't wear all the fucking masks.
Yeah. I can't imagine, because even at, like I said, at that time when I was there before it got big, I couldn't find a mask. I can't imagine what it's like now. Like, you know, the majority of people being scared and not even being able to get certain things.
What, here?
No, in the States.
But my that's what I've been saying. I don't think people in the States even care to buy masks.
No, so they are a lot of people are actually buying masks, but they're not as willing to pay for the
premiums?
The premiums for masks. And actually Amazon just came out, like they actually delisted a lot of people who are selling premium masks.
Well, there's
and
a lot of
premium
hoarders
products
out there.
So
selling
I'm curious, right?
Yeah.
So clearly this pandemic is changing, you know, people's behaviors and then hence different industries, right? And I'm reading a tweet by Nicholas Taleb from a few days ago. And it's really interesting. Universities are proving to be redundant. They are the first economic victims of the coronavirus. Unlike with airlines and the hospitality industry, their damage will be permanent. I'm curious what everyone's thought is in terms of what the long-term implications. A lot of the conversations have been just around the short-term implications, like masks and how to stop this. Assuming that we get past this, like we have, you know, every other plague that has hit, you know, mankind. What do you guys think in terms of like different industries and even companies like Amazon? Like what are the long-term prospects?
I think the economic hit is going to far outweigh the direct hit of the virus itself. And I think we're seeing that here in China, because we're a little bit ahead than other countries in terms of the progression of the virus, because we were hit first over here. But I think the economic hit globally that's gonna hurt a lot more people than the virus itself.
So
we're gonna start feeling that second wave now.
So what industries do you think will end up long-term sort of benefiting? Like, for instance, online education, and what industries do you think are going to be eradicated?
Like video games, like entertainment, in that way.
Entertainment, medical industries. The industries are going to be, I don't know about long term, but definitely short to mid term are going to be travel agencies, destination industries. Like you know, the cruise industry is definitely going to be. Yeah, the cruise industry is fucked, dude. No one's going to be taking a cruise. No one.
That's so true.
Right now,
That's so true.
cruises.
No one's going to be taking a fucking cruise. Who's going to go on a cruise? You'll be out of your fucking mind to go on one. Out of your fucking... That's worse than being on an airplane.
Yo, and it's crazy how all the ones that got fucked are owned by Carnival. Like
and Princess.
But it's Carnival Princess.
Oh, is it? Oh, are they one thing? Oh,
yeah, so it's all under the Carnival company. But there's actually other cruise companies, but somehow like all the cruise that got fucked is under Carnival.
you know there's someone out there right now like buying up all the Carnival stock right now. Be like, it's gonna bounce back. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because like, the first cruise in Japan was Carnival. Yeah. The second cruise in SF is Carnival. And then
I can't think of an industry that will get hit harder than the cruise line. That's a pretty good one. What are some of the ones that are going to benefit? Like long term. For instance, like look at all the universities, right? There are going to be people that are like, why the fuck am I paying, you know, $200,000-$300,000 for a fucking university education? That model is outdated.
That's interesting.
I don't
That's
think so.
interesting.
I don't think so.
That's interesting.
Because you're going to university for the diploma. You're not actually going
But less
for
and less so, right? How do you make money these days? What if you know how to make crazy AI programs and you can code like a motherfucker? Why do we need an accreditation and a certificate? Is that really important anymore? I think this episode, people are not able to go to class. They can't go to their graduations. People are going to start realizing that what they're actually getting for 2, 4, however many years is just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But that
And
piece of paper,
overpaying for that.
And overpaying.
I feel like there's a small sect of people that are already thinking that way.
Yeah.
You know, but we look at a country like China. Like, as a foreigner getting a visa, I have to show my diploma. I have to prove that I graduated from college.
Yeah.
To even get a visa.
that piece of paper is pretty
But
important.
but maybe that's old school, right? Like there are more and more industries where the way you demonstrate your value is not that piece of paper, or in addition to that piece of paper, there are other things that you need. And where's the world going with that? With all, I mean, like how to code, like mini MBA programs, you can do all this stuff online.
I 1,000% agree with you, but the whole system needs to change. It is an archaic system,
yeah.
but I think when you look at the landscape of actual companies and employers, you start seeing that trend, because what I see when I look at that landscape is I see a lot more employers now weighing less on like where you graduated from, you know, what school, what diploma you have, but more on like your actual skills. That's why they're coming up with more creative like interview tests and like things just to see like where you are creatively,
Personality
or like
tests.
personality tests, or like how you can problem solve. And those things are not measured by like where you went to school necessarily.
maybe in the States, but not in China.
Yeah, but even in the States,
it's gotta start somewhere.
man, even in the States, I think, you know, like, I think that group of people do exist, but they already existed. You know, the people who are like really good at coding, right? Like they already did not need that diploma, but
Well, there's a big, not a huge sample size, but
Yeah.
there is a definite sample size of people that did not pursue higher education and have become successful.
yeah.
Right.
Well, the point is, I think employers need a place to go to source these people. So that is really the main source of these higher education kind of institutions. Is it brings all the talented people together, like MIT, for example, right? It brings all like the geniuses, engineers and tech people like into one place, one accredited institution where employers can be like, look, I need someone from there, because they all congregate there. Now, if MIT didn't exist, it would be somewhere else. It's just you need a platform, you need a place where you can draw all these people in, and then it makes it easier for employers to choose from, because otherwise it's a free for all. Otherwise, like, you don't know where to look, you don't know who to trust, you don't know there's
That's true.
no pinpoint
That's true.
place.
And what we're saying is that, why is it MIT, right? What value now do they offer? And when employers are looking for, you know, people with really strong people skills, right? Like you think about automation. Like automation is like basically, you know, automating away, you know, a lot of jobs. So what distinguishes people, human beings? Like it's your skill of being a human being, working in teams, making great decisions, and then these higher level skills. And so what if there was another platform that cost less, that was much more scalable, and could bring people all over the world together and then provide that? And that's starting to happen, because you have people like, for instance, the guy Jim McKelvey from Square. He started this platform where, you know, people can learn how to code and all these kind of next generation skills, and then they can place these people into organizations.
I have a question going with what you're saying, because you seem to be a big proponent of it. First with you, Eric, and then you guys can answer. I mean, if let's say you have a child right now who's, you know, within the next 2 years approaching college, would you be pushing your child to attend college?
So these are really interesting, because these are new ideas, right? And so you look at people like Peter Thiel, like all kinds, like the conversation is changing. And so
Well, I'm saying now.
I
I'm
don't
saying
know
now.
what I would do. The conversation is changing. What I would do is start doing more research and trying to understand this a little bit better. We're just on it's like the tip of the iceberg, but
Yeah.
things are starting to change. What I would do is look at in the next 20, 40, 50 years, where is the world going?
Exactly, yeah.
And then I would try to learn more about what would set my kid up for success.
Like I see incremental changes to that, but for long term, I see it just becoming like what you're saying. Let's say ideally there was another option there, and someone could bring up another platform, or there was another solution that people can galvanize around and bring a lot of popularity to. It would just become another so-called MIT. Because the more people that wanted to go, prices will go up, just like any institution, right? The more legitimate it came, the higher standards they would have of accepting people into their institution or their platform or whatever. So it would just become a different version of an MIT, of a Harvard, because the demand would be there for it, the legitimacy would be there for it. And all things would just rise, just like all these old school institutions we're talking about.
That would be one direction. But what I'm saying is we're democratizing this type of knowledge. And so back in the day, accessing a certain book, you had to be the elite and you had to be wealthy. Now you can get every fucking book ever for $10.
Like
right?
blockchain education.
Eric,
education.
I think one thing you're underestimating is, all right, first of all, I think you talked about how you want your kid to see what's happening in 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, right?
No,
Okay.
that's not what I said. What I said was that I wanted to look at where the world would be 30 to 50 years out, and then learn about what options my kid had. But that automatic, go to Stanford, go to Harvard, I have to say that automatic sort of preference that my parents had, I wouldn't have it. I would look into more options. And would I want my kid to go to those schools? I might still end up making the same decision, but I think the decision process is a little bit different.
But don't you think there'll always be the creme de la creme of
I would
whatever?
100% still send my kids to those schools if my kid's smart enough, right? But it's not. I think one thing you're underestimating is how humans the synergy we can make when we're together, like as a group, right? So I think MIT, before there was a building. I forget the building number. It was building number 15 or 22. I forget. It was the craziest building, but the building was supposed to be built for it was built in a semester, right? Because it was not supposed to last, but it actually lasted, I think, 30 years on campus or something. And radar was built there,
why was this building built in the first place? It was just
this building, you can search it up. So it's an MIT building. Every number is actually, so there's no actually set numbers. If you go in, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? The room numbers are not in sequence. And the room numbers are actually messed up. So if you want to go to room number 8, it might not be between 7 or 9. It'll be it might be.
It's a code you have to figure out.
No, it's not a code. But so what happened is so if you look at that, I already forget the building number in MIT, but it finally got torn down a few years ago. But it existed for I think 30 or 40 years, and all the best technology that we know today was all discovered there. But why is so people actually analyze it, why is so much tech built, all the scientists, right, both the headphones, right, the CEO came out of that building too, right? So he discovered
so that got saying why did so many great pioneers
came out, and one reason was how the building was set up. It was just because it was so messed up. Everywhere you went, you don't know where to go, so you have to ask people hey, how do I get to this department, this room number? And you have to interact with so many other people, so people started knowing a lot of more other people. So smart people, so because a lot of times you're the best in what you do, right? But just to being the best in what you do is not enough to do something new.
I agree.
You need to combine with someone else.
So it became a complex organism.
Yeah. So people were meeting people much more often just because this building was so effed up. You couldn't find shit. So you need to know people. Like every time you go in, you're like, oh fuck, I need to go there. Like,
But that couldn't have been the main. Like I'm sure, like maybe that contributed, but that couldn't have been like the main cause of why.
It's
like,
not.
I think it's not about that. It's the bigger idea that it's, you know, the group is stronger than
the
one.
group is stronger than the individual. I think so. You asked me like if I want.
How many people could go to that building? Out of like everyone, how many people graduate from high school every year? A couple million, right? So how many people could go to that building?
A very small person.
Yeah, very small. So I think I understand what your point is. I mean, like Steve Jobs did that with Pixar. I mean, it's not like a, you know, like a crazy notion. They designed all the restrooms in the Pixar building so that you would have to walk through all the other buildings. Like, I mean, like, it's all about human connection. Absolutely. That's not really the point. I mean, I agree with you. I'm not making that point. I'm making the point that the academic institutions, the way they're structured, even if you look at the structure of a university, is like archaic, right? They've existed for hundreds of years, thousands of years, not thousands, but hundreds of years. Like the names of the different departments, the way you get tenure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That model is changing. And what's happening is that those MIT kids right now, they can't even fucking go to that building. You know why? Because they're not allowed to go to that building. So people are like, well, fuck, I'm paying like $50,000 a year. I'm getting my classes online. So the model is changing, you know, and so, you know, you might send your kids directly to a company. A lot of these top companies have universities built into those companies, right? Like Google has Google University. You know, they all have different, and so a lot of the innovation is being driven at that entrepreneurial level. And maybe you just send your kid directly there in some kind of training program.
Truth be told, I mean, that's basically cutting out the bullshit.
Totally.
well, I'm surprised you're not a bigger fan of Andrew Yang after having said that.
I am a fan of Andrew Yang. Absolutely.
Because he talks about that a lot, like
Yeah.
not exactly what you're saying, but he talks about like the ineffectiveness and inefficiencies of the current educational paradigm, right? That like we're spending a lot more money on educational institutions, but none of that is having an effect on the actual education and quality of education of people. Like the quality of education has basically stayed the same for decades. But meanwhile, we spent exponentially more money on the educational institutions. So where's that money going towards? It's definitely not helping the students, right? And then you take that and you add that to all the student loan debt that's occurring in the country. It seems to be a very ineffective system and a very inefficient system. The thing is, I think even if you were to shake up that whole paradigm, right? And I'm just, again, not to bring up this word because I know it's a sensitive word. Devil's advocate. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But even if you were to shake up that whole paradigm, which I personally think it needs to be shaken up, at the end of it all, over time, there would still be a creme de la creme of the crop that would rise to the top and demand more for it. Demand more, whether it's prices or standards or whatever, to get in, and then they would become the new MIT. They would become the new Harvard.
Where you're going with this, and I don't disagree with that piece. Okay, so I think there's really 2 points we can make here. Number one is that look at something like the Avengers, or look at something like what's on Netflix, right? So you have content that is, you know, the highest level of content being produced, right? Avengers, like that's like technological marvel. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars to put together something like that.
Best film ever made.
Exactly. The best franchise, right?
That's what Howie thinks. Best film ever made.
And I can just
the end game. Are we talking about the end game?
Yeah.
Like what? Avengers.
Anyways,
he thinks the Daredevil with Ben Affleck is the best film that is ever made.
Are you for
As
real?
a filmmaker, that's what he thinks.
What do you think, Charles?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
There's a lot of irony here, but you know, the point I'm trying to make is that there's a lot of things that once you get a certain level of scale, then you can afford to not charge for it. So something like the internet, which is something that, you know, in the past, you had to be the elite to even be able to like get access to books. Now everyone has access to it. So I think one part of it
become
is
more and more ubiquitous.
Yeah, so there's democratization of certain things. So the fact that would there be elite institutions that would then come up again, you know, who knows? But there's certain things that have just been democratized, right? The second piece is that, yeah, of course you have to strip things down. Elite things institutions will be built up again, but we kind of have to tear things down. That's just the cycle of humanity. That's kind of how things work, you know?
Okay,
but Charles, like, for you,
yeah,
okay, you've shared with us how you became an entrepreneur and how you've made an impact on society, how you've even funded your own team members from your profit on new ideas, right?
Yeah.
Where did you learn how to do that? Was it from NYU, where you went to school, or was it from the
I
school?
went to Penn State.
I didn't
Or
go
Penn
to
State,
NYU.
sorry. What was that school called?
Penn State.
No, your
Russell Sage.
Russell Sage.
He learned how to run.
Yeah, yeah, Russell Sage, right?
Not
you
fast enough.
he learned
Not
how to
fast
dodge
enough,
bullets.
unfortunately.
So did you learn from Russell Sage and Penn State, or did you learn from, the School of Hard Knocks?
Okay, hold on. But Eric, I think like all right, quick thing on your. All right, so I think knowledge has been is free now. Like with ever since Google, like, maybe not the beginning of Google.
Well, more than
Jeeves,
Google,
ask Jeeves.
internet. And
internet. Like right now, at least, if you want knowledge, it's free, right? So I think you have to divide people to like two groups of people. Like there's people who are like just so smart that they might not need a stamp of approval from like a school or like, and I'm just so good at what I do that like whatever it is, right? That I don't need to go to Harvard. I don't need to go to like Stanford. I'm like fuck.
proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, like I'm fucking so smart. Like I don't need you to acknowledge me. I'll just do my shit.
Like a Goodwill Hunting motherfucker.
And you'll be like, oh shit, this guy's a fucking genius, right? But then there's the other group of people. I think that's the majority of people. We're like, we might be pretty good, right? But we're not gonna impress you right away with our knowledge, right? Like, and we're like, we're good. We might be multifunctional, but we're not like, I ain't gonna program a shit that you'll be like, oh shit, this crap blew my mind, right? For that group of people, I think we need some kind of. It does not have to be like a traditional school, but it does need to be some kind of stamp of approval where I can start.
Like a ranking system?
Accreditation. That's what you're basically saying. You need some sort of universal accreditation
to start talking to people, right? But hey, like I went to this school or this online school, right? It doesn't matter, right? But at least it give you like it's like, all right, this guy's at least a smart guy.
There's a standard. Yeah, I agree. I think, well, what's interesting is like back in the day, you remember like the first online like University of Phoenix? And when you see like that on someone's resume, like, oh, University of Phoenix, that's not that legit, right? But I think the point you made earlier, Justin, is like, where is the money actually going? So really the key is like, if I'm spending like $50,000, $70,000 a year, I want to know that that's not just going into a piece of paper and that MIT or Harvard has the right to do that stamp, that they're actually legitimately creating value and knowledge and wisdom that I can't get otherwise.
But I don't know. Like,
what do you want to say? What do you want to say,
Well,
Howie?
I mean, it may not be the actual knowledge and wisdom as you say, but it could be just that honor. You know what I mean? The name. That some people use it for.
What do you
just
mean?
like
Some people, everyone uses it for.
But it's like the same way. Like I'm wondering, like this current young generation, like when they send in their resume, does it say like I've watched 10 episodes of Masterclass, like like the digital teaching website.
I know Masterclass. I'm not following you right now.
I know Masterclass.
Like what if they write that as their education?
Oh, that is their education.
That's but I mean, look, like anyone.
I watch every Masterclass.
If you've looked for a job, right? I mean, generally after your first job, it's about.
But that's after your first job, but how you get your first job though? Right?
That whole paradigm is changing too. That whole paradigm is changing.
Special skills.
No, but all right, back to where
I listened to the Honest Drink podcast.
like literally,
yeah. Like you wanted to go into politics or something. You're like, oh, I listened to Honest Drink podcast. So I get my information from there.
So what if it was more? I mean, organizations now. I mean, like, look, the process is changing, right? Because when was the last time any of us tried to look for a new job, right? I mean, honestly, we haven't. But we do know people that have, and it's changing. The process is actually changing. The first thing is they are going to top universities because I agree that's where they can then that's the recruiting piece,
name
right?
recognition,
yeah,
right?
Name recognition, and the university itself has a selection process, so they're piggybacking off of that. But once after that piece, right, we're saying that piece might change. They actually do psychometric, all kinds of profiling. And it's very, very, very rigorous because we have Anne's gone through a lot of this process, right? And it's all about like psychological testing, all kinds of different scenarios, giving you case studies. And even for that first job, really out of business school, they're testing you. So what if the paradigm was a little bit different? It wasn't so much what school you went to, but it was, I'm going to give you a test that actually tests the skills that you need for the job, and you take that fucking test, right? And then you place out of it. I mean, that, that I think that is what is happening. And then where would you go to develop those skills? You could choose MIT, or you could actually go to specific courses and classes designed to help you acquire those specific skills.
But Eric, right now you make 100% logical sense. But if you're living in a capitalistic society, that's not going to work.
Get some ice.
Ice?
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay. Well, just try to relate to what I'm saying with capitalism right now. And why do universities exist? Why aren't you answering?
I'm waiting for you to make your point.
I'm asking you right now to connect it right now.
I don't know. No, I mean, I'm waiting for you to make your point. I don't
I'm just
really know
saying,
what
it's
you're
like
saying.
the education system, just like any other, just like, for example, even like the medical system, it's a capitalistic entity, right? So basically, these universities, especially private universities, they exist not only because they've built some sort of standard, like for example, like an Ivy League or whatever, but it's a money making machine. At the
And
end of
that
the
proves
day.
my point precisely, that this area is ripe for disruption.
No. Yes, exactly. I'm just saying, like, you make 100% sense.
It's ripe for disruption.
You make 100% sense,
right?
but
the
that
next
will never
person,
be allowed to happen.
the next person, yeah, I mean, Uber, Google, Apple, Amazon, this is the same thing. That's the point. That's precisely the point I'm trying to make, is that one of the big areas, if you remember my original question, this coronavirus, are there certain things that it will serve as an accelerant for in terms of industries, where they're taking them apart or accelerating them? Education is the next big one. There's something big that's going to be done here. Something huge.
Okay.
Like some paradigm shift, right?
Paradigm shift.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, I mean, if you're the one that's doing that, and people are already thinking in these terms, man, it's going to be crazy.
You think more than medical industry?
Okay, so hold on. Before we go any further, so there's a study done for habits, right? So what happened in London, you guys know where like the metro system went on strike, right? So people like had to find new ways to go to work. I think this was in the 90s, right? So, or the early 2000s, I forget. But what happened was like, so the metro, actually people went on strike. So people had to find new ways to go to work, right? Like either through like bus or running, or I don't know what the fuck they were doing. But 5% of people never converted back. Because people are lazy people, right? Like, we're lazy. So without something to shock the system, we're not going to find new ways to do what we do.
Like, we're creatures of habit.
Yeah,
and
we're
it takes
creatures of
something like
habit.
really like
Yeah.
devastating to like change that, right?
It's or some sort of shock to the system, right? Because we like to do what we do to get our result, and it makes us happy. We're comfortable.
Even if it's not the most effective result,
Yeah,
but it's a
yeah.
result that we're more familiar with.
Yeah.
We're gonna stick with that.
Yeah.
Even though it's not the best
It's just
best way to do it.
easy for us, right? But after the metro system actually got back online, 5% of the population never went back to their old roots, just because of the shock. They were able to find better ways, right? Like better ways, more efficient ways to get to work. So I think a lot of people are predicting, I think the same thing is going to happen with this coronavirus, right? This pandemic, right? Like it's going to shock the system. It's going to introduce new ways to do things, right? Like, and 5%, like, how like cooking became really big, like cooking at home became really big for like during this, in China at least, for the coronavirus. And people are saying like now, because 以前 like 白领, right? Like white collars, they never cook at home, right? But now because of this, maybe 5% of people will start cooking at home more regular because they discover how easy it was, right? Because before they always thought cooking was this like really tough, right? Like, but now like 5% probably not gonna go back, right? And this 5% is gonna go to be new business for, let's say, like 盒马先生, right? Or all the online delivery groceries.
Yeah,
Like,
you hit the nail on the head, and I love the
Yeah.
like. I mean, like this episode is gonna like we should call it "Shock the System." That's what it's all about, because essentially that's what we're saying is that when we look forward, coronavirus is going to shock the system, and then there's certain behaviors we're never going to go back to, and it's the really ingenious, clever people that sense a new problem in this that are gonna, and like education is just one
capitalize on
example.
it.
And how, you know, I agree. Like I understand what you're saying. How is that education is entrenched, right? It's an institution, and there's a lot of political power in it, and people will then lobby against it, et cetera, et cetera. But when we hit that tipping point, then things will change, because in every industry there's an incumbent, right? And you know, education is definitely something where there's a lot of entrenched interest, but something might happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that is the title, Shock the System. Because this whole thing has, I think, woken up a lot of people. And to a lot of different people, they're going to focus on different things. Some are going to focus on politics. Some are going to focus on Medicare. Some, like you, are going to focus on education. Some are going to focus on, like, you know, like human rights or, you know, like disease control. A whole bunch of things, right? And it really takes something like this every now and then to kind of wake people up, to kind of see like, okay, look, society is hanging on a thread here. We've always been hanging on the thread. And so what are you really going to do about it right now? Like, what are some changes or some paradigm shifts you're going to campaign behind? And I think this is a good opportunity to kind of like reset your mindset.
Yep.
And to come at it from a fresh perspective is a kind of mild crisis like the coronavirus, you know?
Yeah, people get too comfortable in their routine. You know, they get comfortable into what they know, and they just accept things for what they are.
And not just only accept, like, but they're still in denial. A lot of people are still in denial.
Yeah, but
too.
now that something like this is here,
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully, yeah, we do have some
Yeah, and I
adequate
think
change.
business landscape is definitely going to change because of coronavirus.
I mean, even like work, like the effectiveness of working at home on a lot of different industries.
Yeah. Teleconferencing is going to be huge now.
Well, like, I don't mean to pry, and you don't have to share if you don't want to, but how has your business, Charles, been affected by this?
As a restaurant,
I mean,
you know,
it's super terrible,
F&B.
right? F&B was super terrible, like, because nobody come out anymore, right? So it's terrible. I think everybody had a shitty time.
But you guys were open for the majority of the...
No,
'cause I ordered from your place a couple of times, even during the lockdown.
So Xuhui was open, but Jing'an got fucked up. So like,
So you're talking about the different locations.
because of cases that came out, right?
Yeah, so Jing'an was like super fucked this time. So all right, so China is very different than, like, I think, I don't know, I would not say US, but at least this was something new that I learned during this coronavirus. Like, every block is almost managed differently in China, man.
Well, in Shanghai, right?
Shanghai.
Every block.
Almost like,
It's almost like a different bureau,
because we're talking, all right, so
different jurisdiction.
yeah, because all right, we have all right, so it's like this, right? China is super on speed. Like, no other country can match China in terms of speed, right? Like, speed of execution. We were like, okay, tomorrow we're going to lockdown, right? And bam,
Tomorrow's
okay.
lockdown.
But
Yeah.
no, but check this out. We only know it's locked down, but no one actually said how to lock it down. No, it's serious. It was
Yeah.
a fucking serious problem.
Yeah.
Like, because China will be like, all right, tomorrow we're locking down, right? But no, there was no details given. It's like,
What does that mean?
yeah, what
right?
does it mean? So like, every block, like, pretty much like every block was operating differently, man. Because like, it was like also China has like this group of soldiers that no other country have, like this the old lady group, you know, like the AIs, right? Like the
volunteers.
Aren't
they volunteers?
They're volunteers, but they're
They're the
also called
scariest group
What
of
is
all.
that called? The
的居委会.
居委会.
Yeah,
and they crack down.
Yeah, they crack down.
Are
but-
you more scared of them than anybody else?
Oh, yo, 居委会 is like, I would not say scared, but like, you know, like, so they
don't mess around.
So all of a sudden they get these.
So they're a
They get
committee
this
of like
power.
old
They-
aunties.
They get this power, right?
Yeah.
And they're confused on how to use it too. So it's like, yo, so like, no, I'm serious. Like, so during the, like, cause I have 8 shops, right, in different areas, and it was different rules in every fucking area, so it got like really confusing, you know, like this block, like, because I even have 3 shops. I have 5 shops in Jing'an, right? So, but 3 is in one block, so I consider them to be one shop, let's say.
So
right?
how do you sweet talk those? They're like tyrants.
Yo, but it's not even sweet talk. It's just because they're confused too, man. Like,
what do you
they
do?
don't
Like,
even know.
how do you interact with them then?
There's no interaction. Like, whatever they say is rule. Whatever they say is law. You know,
That's crazy.
But then, like, they're confused because they don't even know what to do. You know, like, because they even told me, it's like, hey, like, because it happened. Like, so one day, like, my Changshu store got shut down. I'm like, fuck, right? So I went to find these IEs, right? And they're like, okay, so yesterday we just got pulled into a WeChat group, and they tell us to shut you guys down. But then, no, check this out. The reason, I didn't explain it well. Why I went to talk to her, because they want to shut down my restaurant. I understand, right? Like, I understand. But they're like, okay, you have to fill out this form, which lets you reopen. Okay, so then they give me this one address where I fill out the form. So I went to this address, right? And they were like, oh, no. This, you have to go to that department for this, right? And we never processed this. I'm like, okay. So from this first destination, I went to the second destination. And the second destination, they're like, no, we never did this kind of shit. You know, like, you have to go to this third place, which is still okay, you know? I mean, I want to survive. I want to make money. You know,
it's okay only if you're familiar with the China system, where they push you from one department to the next.
But check this out. I went to the third one, right? You know, whatever. You know, I understand this shit happens in China, and they're like, no. I never processed either. Then they give me, but I know who does, and they give me an address. But it was the first guy.
Fucking all the time.
Yeah, they looped it back to the first guy. I'm like, oh, what the fuck, right? Like, I just came from there. So I'm like, okay.
They do that all the time.
So I went back to the IEs. So that's why I had to go find the fucking IEs. I'm like, all right, IE. He gave me, like, this address, and this is what happened. And the IE literally told me, like, hey, yesterday I got pulled into a WeChat group. They just told me to shut this block down, and this is where you go. I do not know any further, right? And this is all I can do for you. And so you just shut down, and there's no action. So, like, everybody was operating differently. It's so crazy. So crazy.
When the IEs tell you they told me to shut you guys down, who do you think they is? Who's they?
Probably like the government, right? Like
the Shanghai officials.
No, but then, like, no, it's crazy. They started forming committees, right? So they start putting, like, all different kind of committee into, like, one. They made a special coronavirus committee that composed of, like, all the legal, like, the 消防局, blah blah, like everybody, right? Like, all the different departments. They formed a specialized committee, but there was no uniform voice. Like nobody.
There's no leadership.
There is leadership. The leadership is to shut you guys down. But they're but there was no process on how to do it. You know, so
it's macro, not micro.
Yeah. So
they thought of the first step, but they didn't think about how to get you guys back up and going.
But
right?
it's not even that. But just, like, it's so crazy how China's operated. Like, no, I'm telling you, like, with speed definitely comes at cost, right?
Yeah.
And just, like, you know, so I had to say the quarantine speed was unprecedented.
Amazing.
Amazing. But, like, I definitely tell you, like, people were confused the fuck out. Like it's just like
for sure. Yeah.
Every block.
But that seems to be a given, though, right? Like you said, everything comes at a cost. So if you're gonna shut everything down as fast as China did, which in the grand scheme of things helps globally for everybody, right? Like that China was able, like, thank God, like, this sounds really fucked up to say, it sounds really weird, but thank God this virus started here, because, like, no other country has the ability to shut down the country.
But it's the same shit now. The same shit, it went out. So, I mean, if we manage to contain it,
but it could be a lot worse, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, right now is the lot worse part, I think, right? Like,
I don't know, man. Do you think so? Like, it could be a lot worse. What do you think?
I mean, if we contained it, then yeah, fucking China would be a hero in this.
Yeah, but the lot worse could have been if it never got contained, it started spreading, and there's no precedent that China established. Then it would have been.
Maybe,
we would,
maybe,
the
maybe.
numbers would be a lot different than they are now today, and the death numbers maybe. I don't know.
I mean, what China did start was the quarantine system, which other countries are adopting. I guess Italy is adopting.
But no one's really admitting that. No one's really calling it the quarantine system.
Yeah.
Like even the United States, like they look at, they're, what's funny is like you look at like the media over there, and I've been like watching like ESPN lately, and like ESPN, like they're applauding like the different sports leagues, like whether it's like the PGA or the NBA, for like shutting down and canceling games and suspending games, and like the bravery it took and the financial cost of shutting down like the basketball games. Like, oh, this needs to be applauded. The leadership it took. Hello. An entire country of billions shut down for months. And like in the grand scheme of things and context, like it's like a one sports league shutting down is nothing.
But,
you know what I mean?
So, all right. So I do have a problem with the whole shutting down because because it leads to what you were saying. Charlie's in Xuhui were open, right? I even know bars in
The whole
Xuhui-
time?
Yeah, the whole time.
Oh shit. Okay.
I was ordering from their place like
I-
a long
But
time
then no,
ago.
I even know bars in Xuhui that are open.
People told me Up is open. Like people were partying at
Alright,
Up
but
the
Up
whole
is-
time. Yeah.
But anyway,
My friend told me like
So
the
there
whole
were-
time people were like partying. It was like packed, no masks, no
they were
nothing.
still
People were just
so
like booking tables.
So
and
I understand
partying.
you had to sacrifice me. You know, I take the sacrifice, right, for the country. But like, it's not fair where like if 3 blocks Changshulu is 3 blocks from Xuhui, right? And like in 3 blocks, like they were like the bars were open. I'm like, what the fuck? And you're gonna like sacrifice my ass, right? Like that would not be fair, right? So that's why I'm saying like the whole quarantine thing was not done with grace. Like if it was fair throughout, then yeah, I take it. You know, like that's.
But do you
as
think
a
like
citizen-
something at that large of a scale? Do you think it can be done with grace in terms of like thinking of every individual
Yeah,
like,
it's-
business owner? Like
It just became
obviously
takes
people are
time.
gonna like
it
fucking
just
eat shit.
became
right?
super it just became super unfair just because like people literally across the street from each other, like I had to close and you did not, and like then you're sacrificing me as a business owner, right? Because
Yeah.
I have my shit too, man, and especially now like China came out with the whole like you have to pay all your employees, you can't lay off anybody, and that's cool, you know, like I have my social responsibilities, right? But at least make it kind of fair. It's like
Like make it fair for
no,
everybody.
like my shop closed, and I look across the street, and like you're like all the shops across the street are open.
Like they're all packed.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
And I'm like, fuck. Right? They're like, how the fuck am I gonna deal with this
they're all
shit?
packed and partying over there.
Yeah, no, yo, some bars became super popular at this
Yeah.
time. Like some small bars, because all the big clubs have to close, right? And people still want to drink.
I heard Up became super popular.
That's
like,
fucked up.
Yeah.
yo, there were places like there was one bar like I walked by like you have to squeeze into there, all right? Like
Fucking idiots.
Like people were just like partying like it was
Yeah,
1999,
yeah. It was
right?
it was like super packed.
I bet you it's mostly foreigners.
You know,
too.
and it was mostly foreigners. Okay.
Oh, that's racist. Howie. How racist of you.
I'm very racist.
But overall, like, you know, so that part, toured my business, right? So yeah, I lost a shit ton of money.
Are you guys back on track now?
We're open now, but
Your
you know, like
your Cantonese restaurants as well.
one is open, the other one's not. But yeah, like, you know, like when it got really bad, right? Like when like 4, maybe I have 8 restaurants, so I think 4 was shut down, right? 4 out of 8 was shut down. And then I'm fucking like walking by bars that are like super packed. I'm like, bitch, like why did it happen to me, right? Why did my IE understand this shit differently than this IE?
It's funny because like people like out like not in China would think like, oh, they fear the government, right? The central government.
Yeah.
But then it's the IEs that you guys really fear.
Yo,
right? It's like the local aunties.
Yo, I have to say, Juwei Hui is crazy, man. Juwei Hui, they have power, yo. Like they
These
have power
aunties?
to fuck you up. Yeah. These aunties, you don't fuck around.
Man. Well. All right, guys.
Well, let's hope for that we can. I mean, not just China, but the whole world, right? Like, let's hope we can all do our own responsible way of living and
pour me
keep this
some
in
more,
check.
Yeah.
Let's all move on from this.
Let's hope that everyone, no matter what country you're from, can come out of this a lot stronger and more united than we have ever been before. That is my hope. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think everyone just needs to invoke some common sense, think for themselves. Like I already said, don't fall into this mob mentality mindset, and don't believe everything you hear on the media. Try to use some common sense, think for yourself, man. And everyone's suffering, whether you're in China or anywhere else. We're all suffering because of this, and this virus has no preference for any racial has no racial preference whatsoever. So it's going to attack everybody, and that's how we have to think of it. We need to come together and fight this.
Be antisocial. Social distancing. Stay away from other people.
Social distancing. That's the new
Self-quarantine.
Yeah.
That's not new. We've been doing this in China for months.
I'm dialing in for the next podcast.
Only people in the West have been thinking this is a new thing. We've been doing this social distancing thing for months now. It's nothing new for us. You know what I mean? It's the new norm.
I think 2 months already, man. 2 months.
No, more than that, man. It's been like 3+ months. People social distancing. Come on, dude.
Almost 3 months.
Yeah.
So let's social distance.
Let's just pray for everyone to get better.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's pray
Cheers,
for everybody.
guys.
Cheers, guys.
Health.
Thank you, Charles.
Ooh.
Great conversation as usual. I love you.
Love you guys.
I'm Justin.
I'm Howie.
I'm Eric.
All right, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Entonces, algo sí.